my overall judgment is that during the last 20 years or so of British stewardship, we did too little to lay down democracy in Hong Kong. But that's an argument I have with my British colleagues, not with anybody else.
Then do you think it's still very important to stick to the one country, two system concept maybe after 30 years or 40 years?
Well, which of us knows what China will be like in 37 years' time? I think the only thing we can be sure of is it won't be exactly the same as it is today. I'm not sure that it's possible to open up an economy at the pace with which China is opening up and to keep an absolutely rigid Leninist control over politics. And the more open China becomes, the more comfortable Hong Kong will be about the prospect of ending the 50 years specified in the Joint Declaration. And I guess the more comfortable Taiwan will become about its dialogue with the rest of China.
But do you think this one country, two system will work also in Taiwan? Because it was found to be working in Taiwan and sets Hong Kong and Macau as an example for it.
Well, I never really thought that that was a sort of automatic consequence of Hong Kong's transition going well. It's impossible to think of people in any society voluntarily giving up democracy and the way they protect their freedom. So I think the key to Taiwan's relationship with the rest of China, and I know the strength of feeling on both sides, is not what happens in Hong Kong, but what happens in China. And the more that China changes, the more open China becomes, the easier will it be for Taiwan to organize its relationship with the rest of China in a more sophisticated and inclusive way. So it's important that things have gone smoothly in Hong Kong and Macau, but the fact that they've gone smoothly doesn't somehow unlock the issue, the challenge of the relationship between Taiwan and Beijing.
Traditionally, the role of the last British governor has been to prepare the country for independence. And how did you see that personally as being different for you in Hong Kong?
Well, it was obviously very different, though there was one similarity. Hong Kong wasn't going to be a sovereign independent nation state. It was going to be handed over to a country which had never, at least in the last few years, accepted that it wasn't sovereign, even though it had been prepared to accept the status quo. But the main similarity, I suppose, is that I thought it was extremely important in the last 5 years of British sovereignty to prepare as many local people as possible for the task of running Hong Kong. So one of the first decisions I took was to encourage the resignation of all the senior civil servants, with one or two exceptions, who were expatriates. We developed the Hong Kong Chinese leadership of the public administration as rapidly as we could. And now that wasn't done in one or two other places, but it meant that when I left behind a cadre of leading Chinese civil servants. The only senior official who wasn't Chinese was the Attorney General. All the others, the Chief Executive, the Financial Secretary, the secretaries for all the big departments, they were all Chinese, the chief constable, the head of police. And I think that was important and was a distinctive feature of the way we manage things.